These are 5 reasons why you shouldn't be a physical therapist. Now, I've been practicing as a doctor of physical therapy for about 1.5 years now, and the question is it still worth it? Is what I'm doing right now still worth the 7 years of hard work through school, all the sacrifices, and let alone the student loan debts of nearly $100,000? Well, the answer is yes, it is very much worth it. But in this video, instead of going through why it's been worth it for me as a physical therapist, I'm gonna give you 5 reasons why you shouldn't be a physical therapist. That's right, because if you're gonna put yourself through 7+ years of school to obtain a DPT, and one of these reasons apply to you, then you may need to reconsider. And stick around for the 5th reason, because I talk about money and everybody loves to talk about money. All right, let's start with you shouldn't be a physical therapist if you are typically a closed-minded person. And what I mean by this is that if you plan on going to physical therapy school and all you want to do is become one thing, let's say a sports physical therapist, for example, working with high-level athletes in the sports that you enjoy and that you love, and you are not open to anything else that the DPT program gives you and the opportunities that are out there, then you are selling yourself short. For example, a lot of people want to do outpatient orthopedic physical therapy because of personal experiences. I mean, I was one of them. These are people who have been maybe hurt before through physical injuries from a sport, who have had plenty of outpatient orthopedic rotations or clinical shadowing. Take, for example, me, who was a PT tech for 3 years in an outpatient physical therapy clinic, and all I knew was outpatient PT. And going into PT school, I went in wanting to do outpatient PT again, because that's all I knew. That's really all I was exposed to. I knew quite a bit of outpatient PTs. They were all really cool and I looked up to them. Now, don't get me wrong. I think this drive to really exceed in one profession is really amazing, and every single PT student should have some sort of drive for a specific setting. But if my mind was stuck on becoming an outpatient orthopedic PT at that time and throughout PT school, I would not be where I am at today. I'm gonna rewind a little bit, because during PT school, I did not want to do anything related to hospitals. I didn't want to do inpatient acute. I didn't want to do rehab. I didn't want to go into the ICU, anything like that, because I just had this negative stigma on the hospital. Little did I know that my inpatient rehab clinical rotation was going to be my favorite and kind of the setting that I felt that I can really exceed in. Again, I think it's great to have something in mind in terms of what your interests are, but if you're gonna go through the whole 7+ years of a DPT experience, I think keeping an open mind is gonna be your best bet, because you never know where you're gonna end up or what skills that you're gonna attain, as well as which skills you're gonna be really good at. Okay, next, you shouldn't become a physical therapist if you're introverted. Now, hold on, I am introverted myself. What I mean specifically by this is that you shouldn't be a physical therapist if you're introverted, but you can't be extroverted when you need to be. Physical therapists not only acquire the knowledge and the skill to treat people's conditions, but they connect to the patient and the people more than many of the other healthcare professions that they may encounter. For example, if you work in the acute care setting, you may only have 10 to 20 minutes per patient to really build the rapport, and so you have to do it very quickly. And if you're introverted and it takes you a long time to really get to know a person, then it's going to be very hard for you to do that rotation. And if you work in an inpatient rehab facility where you're spending 30 minutes up to an hour every single day with a patient, I think you're gonna need really good people skills. Or if you work in an outpatient facility where you may be only seeing them 30 minutes every single week or even a couple times a week, then you better be really good at really just having the energy to uplift them and to really treat them and make sure that you're the person that they're really trusting in order to get them better. In whatever setting that you are interested in or you're gonna end up working in, building patient rapport is so important. Okay, next, you shouldn't be a physical therapist if you have a learn it and forget it mentality. And you probably heard this before, but physical therapy school, especially the first year, is like drinking out of a fire hose. It is that much information and it is much more than our brains can handle. If you are trying to go into physical therapy school thinking that you're just gonna get through the didactics portion, you're gonna get in, get out, and then you can finally make money and become a physical therapist, well, it doesn't really end there. In physical therapy school, every single detail matters. And even though there is so much information information coming in all at once. And it's easy to think that I can just push this off later on because I don't need it for a test. Well, I'm going to tell you right now that later in life, after you graduate, everything matters. And if you have the knowledge in one thing and this little thing and every little thing around you, you can grab those pieces of knowledge and apply it right then and there when you're having a patient directly in front of you who is looking at you in the eyes asking for help. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of times where I still have to look up information on Google during my shift because I don't know a specific procedure, specific plan, or anything like that. But when it comes to the general information, I have to be able to grab all my knowledge from physical therapy school, my rotations, and my personal experiences in order to provide the best possible care for my patient. So instead of a learn it and forget it mentality going into physical therapy school or even graduating, we should have a learn it and relearn it mentality because we are always going to be a lifelong student as a doctor of physical therapy, and it's never going to stop. And with that, my go-to source for all my educational needs is Medbridge. Medbridge is an educational platform which physical therapists and even physical therapy students can use to elevate their knowledge and apply it directly to patient care. I use it every single week, whether I'm looking up patient care information, making home exercise programs, or fulfilling my continuing education requirements. And if you're interested in learning more about Medbridge, or subscribing to it, I provided a link in the description below where you can use my discount code to get a discount off of a 1-year Medbridge subscription. Okay, number 4 reason why you shouldn't be a physical therapist is when you're thinking of becoming a physical therapist as merely a destination. Graduating physical therapy school is a massive accomplishment, and if you ever get to that point, you should definitely celebrate with your loved ones. However, when landing your first physical therapy job becomes a destination and a final stop, all your 7+ years of physical therapy school and the sacrifices and the time that it took you and all the hard work, it all goes to waste. Physical therapy is a journey, and finally getting the DPT at the end of your credentials is only a stepping stone to your next steps. Your first job may not be your last, the first setting that you work in may not be the last setting that you're in, and your patient caseload can definitely be more and more complex as you work with a lot of people. You may even encounter something in your first job or your second job that you had no idea or you didn't even learn at all during your PT school. So be prepared to thinking of graduating physical therapy school and becoming a DPT as a stepping stone into your career. Okay, last reason why you shouldn't be a physical therapist is if money is your main driving motivator. Now, how many times have you heard someone say that they want to go into a work field because of the compensation? Well, every single one of us, right? Now, if I wanted to make really good money in the medical field, I could have gone the route of being a surgeon, a nurse practitioner, a dentist, an anesthesiologist, a pharmacist, and many others. And the reason is because money is out there when it comes to the medical field. Now, physical therapists can make really good money too, depending on your state, your city, the setting that you work in, and they can make even $100,000 or more every single year. Now, on the other hand, physical therapists can also make things on the low end, such as $60,000 a year. And really, you have to consider that the yearly compensatory growth is based on the company that you work for, the economy, and the setting, and all those things. So you may even be stuck at a low end for quite some time, and it may take you years and years and years and years to finally build a pretty solid pay. Not to mention that getting a doctorate, for example, a doctor of physical therapy, can cause someone to have student loan debts of $80,000 or even up to $200,000. Now, for me, I think I make pretty good money, especially since I work inpatient, so in the hospital, more specifically in the rehab department. Paychecks are coming bi-weekly and they're great for me, and my bills are paid for. My wife and I are able to save money. We're stewarding our money through our church, and we're able to be blessings to other people, and everything is pretty good when it comes to my social life and my personal life and all my financial needs. With all of that said though, I didn't become a physical therapist to be paid a lot, because I sure don't compared to all the other medical professions that I listed earlier. And honestly, I think it's a big reason why I don't feel burnt out. I love what I do and I love who I serve. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you some insight on reasons why you shouldn't become a physical therapist and some reasons why you should become a physical therapist as well. I have a series on my YouTube channel called the PT Talk where I sit down and I talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to physical therapy. So you can click on those videos on the screen here. Thank you so much for your support. Subscribe to my channel and I will see you in the next video.